The trading outpost on Proxima Station hummed with activity even at this late hour. Merchants from a dozen worlds hawked their wares under the glow of artificial stars that hung from the domed ceiling. Elian Mercer wandered through the crowded marketplace, his weathered explorer's jacket marking him as one of the few humans brave enough to venture this far from Earth's colonies. "You look lost." "Traveler," a melodic voice cut through the din of alien languages. Elian turned to find a slender figure watching him from the shadows of a small, dimly lit stall. Her skin was a deep, iridescent purple that seemed to shimmer under the light. Large, almond-shaped eyes the color of amber studied him with unnerving intensity. "Not lost," Elian replied with a half-smile. "Just exploring." The alien woman stepped forward, her movements fluid and graceful. She wore simple clothing that wrapped around her lithe form, adorned with intricate silver patterns that caught the light. Her hair fell in long, dark waves around her shoulders. "I am Naira," she said, gesturing to her small collection of bottles and vials. "And you are very far from your kind, human." Elian nodded, his curiosity piqued. "Elian, and yes, I prefer the company of stars to that of my own species." Naira's lips curved into a knowing smile. "A wanderer, then? Perhaps I have something for one such as you." She reached beneath her counter and produced a small crystal vial filled with a liquid that glowed crimson, like captured fire. The fluid inside seemed to move with a life of its own, swirling and dancing even as she held it perfectly still. "What is it?" Elian asked, finding himself drawn to the mysterious substance. "We call it the Heart of Stars," Naira said softly, her voice dropping to a whisper. "It is rare, and not meant for humans." Elian raised an eyebrow. "Then why show it to me?" Naira studied him for a long moment. "Because you have the eyes of someone searching for something more than what your world offers." I recognized that look. The marketplace seemed to fade away as Elian's focus narrowed to the vial and the beautiful alien offering it. He'd traveled to the farthest reaches of known space, seeking something he couldn't name a purpose. Perhaps, or simply a way to feel truly alive. "What does it do?" he asked, his voice barely audible. Naira's expression turned serious. "It binds you to the cosmos in ways your kind was never meant to experience. One sip, and you will never be only human again." She leaned closer, her amber eyes intense. "You will become something... more. One of us." Around them, other aliens had noticed the exchange. Some backed away, while others watched with wary expressions. A tall reptilian merchant hissed something in a language Elian didn't understand. But the tone carried clear warning. "They fear it," Elian observed. "They fear what it represents," Naira corrected. "Change, transformation." Breaking the boundaries between species, she extended her hand. The vial balanced delicately between her fingers. "I warn you, Elian of Earth. One sip, and there is no returning to what you were." Elian felt a thrill of anticipation. All his life he'd felt different, disconnected from humanity. Perhaps this was Wiper. Perhaps he was meant for something beyond the limitations of his birth. He took the vial from her, their fingers brushing momentarily. A spark of energy passed between them, making his heart race. "Two new beginnings," he said with a smile, and before anyone could stop him, he raised the vial to his lips and drank. The crimson liquid burned going down, tasting of starlight and ancient fire. Naira's amber eyes widened in surprise, and something else admiration. "Perhaps you were either very brave," she whispered, "or very foolish." Elian handed back the empty vial, a strange warmth already spreading through his chest. "I've been called worse." The first changes began as Elian and Naira hurried through the back alleys of Proxima Station. His skin felt too tight, his senses overwhelmingly sharp. The dim lights of the service corridors suddenly seemed blindingly bright, and he could hear conversations from rooms they had passed minutes ago. "What's happening to me?" Elian gasped, leaning against a wall as waves of sensation washed over him. Naira's purple skin seemed to glow faintly in the darkness. "The Heart of Stars is rewriting you, bonding with your essence." She placed a cool hand on his forehead. The fact that you're still conscious is... remarkable. Most non-Estrians would be. Unconscious by now, Elian's vision blurred, then sharpened with startling clarity. He could see the individual fibers in Naira's clothing, count the tiny scales along her hairline that he hadn't noticed before. Astrians. That's what you are? Naira nodded. We are Stardutched. Born from a world bathed in the light of 3 suns, a sudden pain shot through Elian's chest, and he doubled over. Beneath his skin, his veins glowed with the same crimson light as the elixir. The sensation was excruciating, yet exhilarating. It's like being unmade and reborn simultaneously. The change is happening faster than I expected, Naira whispered. We need to get you somewhere safe. As they continued moving through the station, Elian felt a new awareness growing within him, a connection to something vast and ancient. He could feel the energy systems of the station, the life forces of beings around them. Even the distant pull of the nearby star, I can feel. Everything, he murmured. The heart connects us to the cosmic web, Naira explained as she guided him toward the docking bays. The network of energy that binds all living things. They reached her ship asleek. It's a silver vessel that seemed to shimmer with the same iridescence as her skin. As they approached, the airlock opened without her touching any controls. You're like me, Elian realized. You can manipulate energy, Naira smiled. We don't manipulate it. We ask and it responds. She helped him aboard. Rest now. The transformation will be complete by the time we reach safe space. As the ship detached from the station, Elian collapsed onto a cushioned bench. His dreams were filled with stars being born and dying, civilizations rising and falling, and through it all, a sense of purpose he had never known before. When he awoke, he felt reborn. Raising his hand, he watched as crimson energy danced between his fingers, responding to his thoughts. More surprising was what he saw on the reflective surface of the viewport. His eyes now glowed with the same amber light as Naira's. Welcome to your new existence, she said, entering the cabin. How does it feel? Elian turned to her, a new understanding in his gaze. Like I've been half asleep my entire life. Until now? The first attack came 3 days later. Naira's ship had just entered the asteroid belt of an unnamed system when proximity alarms blared throughout the vessel. They've found us faster than I expected, Naira said, her hands dancing over the ship's controls. Who? Elian asked, joining her in the cockpit. The Void Hunters. Ancient guardians who believe the heart of stars should remain solely with Astrians. Her amber eyes met his. They see you as an abomination. The pursuing vessel was obsidian black, seeming to absorb rather than reflect light. As it gained on them, Elian felt a cold dread seeping into his mind, not his own fear, but something projected from their hunters. They're trying to paralyze us with terror, Naira explained, her voice tight. A Void Hunter specialty. Elian closed his eyes, drawing on his newfound connection to the cosmic web. He reached out, feeling the energy signatures of their pursuers dark. Ancient and cold as deep space. I can feel them. 3 minds filled with purpose and hatred. Naira glanced at him in surprise. You shouldn't be able to sense them yet. Your abilities are developing incredibly fast. The ship rocked as the hunters fired their first volley. Shields flared crimson as Naira banked sharply between 2 massive asteroids. Can you fight them? Elian asked. Not alone, she replied grimly. And you're not trained yet. Another blast rocked the ship, and warning lights flashed across the console. Elian felt something rising within Jim's instinctive knowledge that shouldn't be his. Without thinking, he placed his hands on the ship's control panel. Crimson energy flowed from his fingertips, merging with the vessel's systems. What are you doing? Naira asked, watching in amazement. I don't know, Elian admitted. It just feels... Right. The ship's engines suddenly surged with power. The shield harmonics shifted, becoming more resistant to the hunter's weapons. Naira stared at him, then quickly adapted to the enhanced capabilities. Weaving the ship through the asteroid field with newfound agility, You're channeling your energy into the ship, she said, wonder in her voice. That's advanced Astrian techniques, something that takes years to master. A daring plan formed in Elian's mind. Can we hide in the magnetic field of that gas giant? He pointed to the swirling planet ahead. Naira nodded, understanding immediately. The radiation will mask our energy signature. As they dove toward the massive planet, the hunters followed, firing continuously. One blast caught their rear shields, sending Elian and Naira tumbling as the ship spun. Instinctively, Elian reached out with his mind, stabilizing the vessel with pure will. The sensation was like extending invisible hands to grasp the very fabric of space around them. They plunged into the planet's upper atmosphere, lightning storms raging around them. The hunters hesitated, then followed more cautiously. Now, Elian shouted, "Naya!" cut the engines, and diverted all power to shields. They dropped like a stone, disappearing into the dense clouds. The hunters lost visual contact, their sensors confused by the planet's intense magnetic field. After what felt like hours floating in the turbulent atmosphere, Naira finally spoke. "They've gone." For now, Elian slumped in his seat, exhausted from his first real use of his new abilities. "Why are they so determined to find us?" "Because you represent change," Naira said softly. "And nothing frightens the ancient orders more than change." The hidden Astrian colony of Lumina existed in a pocket dimension, accessible only through a carefully guarded spatial fold. As Nira's ship emerged from the passage, Elian gasped at the sight before him. Crystalline structures floated in a perpetual twilight, connected by bridges of pure energy. Thousands of purple-skinned Astrians moved through the beautiful cityscape, some flying under their own power, others riding streams of light that flowed like rivers through the air. "This is incredible," Elian whispered. "This is home," Naira replied, a note of pride in her voice. One of the last true Astrian colonies. As they docked at a floating platform, Elian noticed the stares of nearby Astrians. Some looked curious, others hostile. News of his arrival, human transformed by the heart of stars, had clearly preceded them. "They're afraid," he observed. "They're cautious," Naira corrected. "What I did giving you the heart-wit was forbidden. But I saw something in you. Something that convinced me to take the risk." A delegation approached as they disembarked. At its center walked an elderly Astrian, his purple skin faded to lavender with age. His amber eyes clouded but powerful. "Elder Talon," Naira bowed respectfully. "I've returned with—" "I know what you've brought, child," the elder interrupted, his gaze fixed on Elian. "The question is why." Elian felt the elder's mind brush against his, a gentle but thorough examination. Rather than resist, he opened himself to the scrutiny, letting the elder see his thoughts, his experiences, his transformation. After a long moment, Talon's stern expression softened slightly. "Interesting. Your mind is remarkably adaptable for a human." Elder Naira stepped forward. "The Void Hunters found us. They're searching for Elian." Murmurs ran through the gathered crowd. Talon raised a hand for silence. "Come, the council must hear of this." In a vast chamber made of living crystal, Elian learned the true history of the heart of stars. The Astrians projected memories into the center of the room, images of a cosmic war that had raged millennia ago. When beings of pure darkness had threatened to consume all life, the void was hungry then, as it is now, Talon explained. Our ancestors created the heart of stars as a weapon, a way to infuse living beings with the energy needed to fight the darkness. But the war ended, another elder continued. The void retreated to the spaces between galaxies. Some, like the hunters, dedicated themselves to ensuring it never returns. "Then why are they after us?" Elian asked. Talon turned to him, his expression grave. "Because the void stirs once more, and the hunters believe that keeping the heart's power contained is the only way to prevent its full awakening." "But you disagree, Elian." Guest NYRA stepped forward. "Some of us believe that spreading the heart's light throughout the cosmos is the true solution. Creating more guardians, not fewer, which is why you gave it to me, Elian realized. She saw in you what I now see, Talon said quietly. A resonance with the cosmic web that few humans possess. You are already halfway to becoming something more, even before the heart. That night, as Elian stood on a balcony overlooking the beautiful colony, Nira joined him. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the distant stars. Do you regret it? She finally asked, drinking the elixir. Elian turned to her, his amber eyes meeting hers. How could I regret finding my purpose? Finding ... This. His hand reached for hers, their fingers intertwining. Where they touched, crimson energy danced between them. Connecting their essences in ways beyond physical, we have a difficult path ahead, Nira whispered. We face it together, Elian replied, drawing her closer. The Void Hunters found Lumina 3 days later. They came with a fleet this time. 7 obsidian ships that tore through the spatial fold like paper. Alarms echoed throughout the colony as Astrians mobilized for defense. Elian stood with Nira and Elder Talon in the command center, watching as the first energy barriers fell under the Hunters' assault. How did they find us? An Astrian commander demanded. They followed the resonance, Talon said grimly. The connection between Elian and the cosmic web burns too brightly too. Hide. Guilt washed over Elian. This is because of me. No, Nira gripped his arm. This confrontation was inevitable. The void grows stronger. The hunters grow more desperate. Elian studied the tactical displays, a plan forming in his mind. If I'm what they want, then perhaps I should face them directly. That's suicide, Nira protested. Not if I fully embrace what I've become. Elian looked to Talon. You said I was already changing before the heart, that I had a natural resonance with the cosmic web. The elder nodded slowly. Few humans have such potential. It's why the transformation didn't kill you. Then help me complete it, Elian urged. Whatever final step there is, whatever will make me a true guardian, I'm ready. Talon exchanged glances with the other elders. There is a way. A ritual that would fully merge your consciousness with the heart's power. But it has never been attempted with a nanostrian. The risk is immense. Greater than the risk of doing nothing? Elian asked. Outside, the first Void Hunters had breached the colony's outer defenses. Screams and the sound of energy weapons echoed from distant sectors. Take me to the ritual chamber, Elian decided. In a sacred space at the colony's heart, Elian lay within a circle of 7 Astrian elders, including Talon. Nira knelt at his side, her amber eyes bright with unshed tears. If this fails, she whispered, your consciousness will be lost to the cosmic web. Scattered across infinity, Elian reached up to touch her purple cheek. And if it succeeds, you will be the first human guardian of the light, a beacon against the coming darkness. Their lips met in a gentle kiss, crimson energy swirling around them, binding their essences momentarily as one. Begin, Talon commanded. The elders started chanting in an ancient tongue, their voices harmonizing into a single resonant frequency. Elian felt the cosmic web respond, energy pouring into the chamber from all directions. Pain lanced through his body as the final transformation began. His consciousness expanded beyond physical limitations, touching stars, planets, the very fabric of space-time itself. For a terrifying moment, he felt himself dissolving, his identity scattering across the vastness of cosmos. Then Nira's voice reached him, an anchor in the infinite. Remember who you are, Elian. Remember why you chose this. With tremendous effort, Elian pulled his awareness back, reshaping it into something new, larger than his human self had been, but still distinctly him. He opened his eyes. The chamber was filled with blinding crimson light emanating from his transformed body. The elders had stepped back in awe, and even Nira shielded her eyes. It is done, Talon whispered. He has become. Elian rose to his feet, power coursing through him like a river of stars. He could feel the Void Hunter's presence clearly known beyond them, the ancient darkness they truly feared. Stay here, he told Nira, his voice resonating with newfound authority. Protect your people. Before she could protest, He vanished in a flash of crimson light, reappearing in the space between the colony and the hunter fleet. The obsidian ships halted their advance. Elian felt their confusion, their fear, as they sensed what he had become. "I am what you seek," his voice carried through the vacuum, transmitted on pure energy. "But I am not what you fear." The lead hunter ship fired its weapons. Elian raised a hand, and the energy dissipated harmlessly around him. With a thought, he reached into the ships, touching the minds of the hunters directly. "See what I see?" he commanded, sharing his vision of the true void, the hunger growing at the edge of the galaxy. "This is our common enemy, not each other." One by one, the hunter vessels powered down their weapons. Their ancient minds, set in centuries of purpose, began to shift, to consider new possibilities. As the first tentative alliance formed between hunters and Astrians, Lian returned to the colony, materializing before Naira and Tylon. "You did it," Naira whispered in amazement. Elian smiled, taking her hands in his. His human life seemed distant now, like a half-remembered dream. Yet the emotions that made him human, love, hope, determination, those burned brighter than ever. "This is just the beginning," he said, looking toward the stars with his glowing amber eyes. "The void is coming. But now, so are we." Around them, the colony glowed with renewed purpose. And somewhere in the cosmos, the darkness sensed a new light and hesitated.